What's up, guys? I'm Rhett. Welcome back to Lawn Insider. Today we're going to talk about my Toro Greensmaster 1000, but before we do, make sure you check in the description box below and go to the Lawn Insider merch store and pick you up a t-shirt. All throughout the month of May, you can get free shipping using the promo code LAWNDAD. I'm actually dropping a new design today, and I'll tease that on my Instagram, so make sure you follow me there at Lawn Insider. And if you have any other questions about mowing real low, leave them in the comment section below. Alright guys, so here she is. I've had a few requests on some recent videos to talk about the mower that I use, and that is the Toro Greensmaster 1000. As you see right there. And the Greensmaster 1000 is a greens mower, meaning it's traditionally used on golf greens, and you'll usually find them at golf courses. Now, if you want to own one yourself residentially, then typically you're going to have to find it on the secondhand market, like Facebook Marketplace, Craigslist, online auctions. Sometimes you'll find them at pawn shops even. But usually you're just going to have to find a used one, and hopefully it's in pretty good shape, or you can nurse it back to being in pretty good shape. As you can probably tell, it's raining a little bit out here, but I am battling the elements to put content out to y'all. So I got my Toro Greensmaster 1000 3 years ago off of Facebook Marketplace. I paid, if my memory serves me correctly, $800. It's possible that it was $850, but it was either $800 or $850, and I think it was probably listed at like $11 or $1150 on Facebook Marketplace. You do have the ability to haggle a little bit on there, and I was able to negotiate the price down. The guy who owned it before me also wasn't the original owner. He got it from a golf course, but his intention was to keep a golf green in his backyard, and he just didn't have the time to maintain it. So he put it up for sale. I saw it on Facebook Marketplace, and I jumped on the opportunity to own one of these things. So a Toro Greensmaster is really like the gold standard as far as real mowing goes. They are commercial machines. They're used on golf greens. They're built like tanks. They're built to last. This one is almost 20 years old, believe it or not, and it still is in great working condition. When I got it, it was 100% operational. I did have the reel grinded one time, and it's cut paper ever since. And y'all have seen some of the stuff that I put my Greensmaster through, and I'm not exactly gentle with it. So this thing is a workhorse, and it can put a beautiful cut on your lawn. So whenever you finally take the plunge and decide that you want to maintain your Bermuda grass real low, or try to keep a golf course style lawn, then you are going to have to get a gas powered reel mower. And there are actually several options of gas powered reel mowers out there. There are some that are geared more towards residential use, and that's going to be your mowers like the McLean's, True Cuts, and California trimmers. And then you're going to have your higher end residential models, and those are going to be like the Swordmans and Owlets, and those actually have cartridges to where you can do several things besides just mowing. So you can verticut your lawn, you can dethatch your lawn. I think there's lawn sweepers even. So those are a little pricier units. And then really your third option is to try to go with a greens mower. And when you're talking about greens mowers, like I said, Toro, to me anyway, is kind of like the gold standard of real mowing. But you also have an option for John Deere has greens mowers that they make. And Jacobsen is another company that makes greens mowers. And whenever you're searching online and you're interested in looking on the secondhand market, you're probably going to see all three. When you're looking into actually purchasing a unit, hopefully you can find both pieces, which is the mower itself and a grass catcher. Sometimes on the secondhand market, a grass catcher is kind of harder to find, and then they can even get a little pricey on eBay. But I was lucky enough to have that included with the Facebook Marketplace find that I had a few years ago, and it's worked out great ever since. So now let's talk about real mowers, and specifically the Toro Greensmaster a little bit, so you can have a better idea of how they work. Alright, so the basic function of a reel mower, just like any other mower, is to just cut the grass. Now the way it cuts the grass is different from a traditional rotary mower. So a rotary mower is more what we're used to where the blade is spinning around like this, and it's really actually cutting the grass like a machete. So it's just hitting the grass, and it's kind of blunt force trauma, especially if you don't have a sharp blade, and it is whacking off the tips of the grass. A reel mower is going to cut the grass like a pair of scissors. So this part right here is called a bed knife, and then this is the reel. And the way you check that your reel is cutting correctly is by seeing if it can cut a piece of paper. So for instance, all right, you see that? And you actually check this across the left, middle, and right. Okay, and that's going to show you that your reel to bed knife is in correct alignment. It's in proper alignment. It's cutting how it's supposed to. If I would have cut over here and then cut in the middle, but over here it didn't actually cut the piece of paper, then I would have known that I would have to adjust the reel to bed knife. But the basic function of the reel and the bed knife is just to go through and cut the grass like a pair of scissors, and that's actually going to create a healthier cut. Okay, so instead of the blunt force trauma that the rotary mower is causing, especially if you don't have sharp blades, this is cutting it like a pair of scissors, and it's just going to be easier on the grass and easier to recover. So let's say I checked this side and the paper didn't cut, then I would have to come up here, and this bolt and this bolt are what you use to adjust your reel to bed knife. And if it was the right side that wasn't cutting correctly, then I would have to come with a 3/4 wrench and take the bolt. And then if I want to give it a tighter adjustment, so if the reel to bed knife is loose and I need to tighten it up a little bit, I'm going to give it a click to the right, like so. And then if I wanted to loosen it up, then I would just give it a click to the left. Now, since mine was already good, I'm just going to keep it where it's at. But this bolt and this bolt right here are what you use to adjust that reel to bed knife. Okay, your next obstacle is just going to be, what is your height of cut going to be? I mow at a 1/2 inch, so I'm not actually going to change the height of cut right now. I keep it there pretty much throughout the entire season unless I'm scalping or doing a reset scalp or something like that. But you're going to change the height of cut, and this is on both sides, but you're going to change the height of cut here and here. You have to loosen this in order to move this screw up or down, and that is going to adjust the height of cut. So if I wanted to make the height of cut higher, then I'm going to come over here and loosen this bolt, and then if I wanted it higher, I would need to loosen this up here and then keep doing it here and then over there on the other side, and you just keep making adjustments until you get it exactly where you want it. If you wanted it lower, then you would, again, you'd have to loosen that first, and then you'd have to turn that to the right. Now, in order to actually change the height of cut, you're going to want to know exactly what you're changing the height of cut to, and that's where the height of cut gauge comes in. You don't need the top of the line one. I've seen guys use like angle iron to do this, but I have the AccuGauge one, and it works great. And after figuring out how to use it initially, I haven't had any trouble with it, and it's been great. I've even got one with a little magnet on the back to where I can do it with one hand, so it makes things really nice. To actually adjust these nuts over here, so here and right here, you need a 9/16 wrench. I'm not actually going to show y'all how to change the height of cut today because I want it where it's at right now, but I will make a dedicated video sometime this season, later in the season, to where I show you exactly how to change the height of cut on your Toro Greensmaster 1000. When we were looking at the height of cut, you might have noticed these things right here, and that's actually where you slide the basket on. So that's going to go like this. You line it up with the slots in the side. Well, a little harder to do with one hand, but there we go. And it fits on like that. So when you're actually mowing, the grass is flying to the front, and it is shooting into your basket. Mine still has the original Kawasaki engine. I believe that they're made with Honda engines now, if I'm not mistaken. But to turn it on, you just have to flip this switch to on, flip, and then it's got a starter rope, just like any other mower, and you pull it, and there you go, one pull. This little switch right here is for the gas line. So if I want to prevent the gas from flowing into the engine, then I just turn it right here. And the reason that's helpful, well, for one thing, if it's going to sit for a while, you don't really want gas in the engine. But if you're ever going to tump the machine over to work on the reel or to maybe change the height of cut or something like that, it's just a good idea to shut the gas off while you're working on it. That way you're not going to flood the engine or anything like that. And whenever you're ready to mow again, you just have to flip it back on. Right here in the front of the machine is the carburetor right here. You have the choke right there, and then right there is where you put the oil in. And there's actually a place for oil in the back as well. There's also some grease fittings, and I'm pretty sure you can find these in like 11 different locations on the machine. And periodically you are supposed to lubricate the machine using those grease fittings. And again, I'll show you all that in a later video, but just know that this machine does require grease. Alright, you'll notice that there are wheels on the machine, but the wheels are actually only used for transportation, so maybe moving it on or off a trailer, moving it on or off a ramp to get into the bed of a truck, moving it on or off the driveway, past the sidewalk, in the garage, stuff like that. A lot of guys don't like these axles for the wheels, and they take them off because they don't allow you to get right up next to what you want to mow, and it leaves a little gap of grass. I like it just because I don't like moving my mower around on the driveway too much, but to get those off, you have to kick down this kickstand right here, and then when the kickstand's down, the mower raises, and you can slide those wheels off. And that's going to look something like this. Pop it down, pull it up. Now the wheels are off the ground, and just like changing a tire, there's a little clip right here. You just pull back on it, and then the tire slides off. And then when you want to actually mow, you just have to let the kickstand down, and then back up. So your next question might be, without tires, how does this thing move around the lawn? And the answer to that is this big drum roller back here. And these two sides are actually not connected. You can see the little line in between. And they spin in opposite directions when they move. And that big drum roller is actually what allows this machine to stripe so well. Not really so much on Bermuda. Bermuda can stripe, but really on grasses like rye and Kentucky bluegrass, you can get some really nice stripes due to that drum roller in the back. Alright, now let's start talking about all the levers on this thing. So this red lever right here is just a parking brake. Mine is pretty much never engaged, but if it were engaged, you just pull up, and then now the machine can't move. Okay, so that red one is just a parking brake. This lever is actually the drive lever, so when I want to go forward, I'm going to put it in forward. Okay, when I don't want to go forward, I put it in neutral. Now, just because I move this forward does not mean that the reel is necessarily engaged or not, because this lever down here is what engages the reel. When it's pushed away like this, that means that the reel is not engaged, so the mower can move and I can drive around with it, and it will be self-propelled, but the reel will not spin. If I want the reel to spin, I've got to pull back. Now, the only way that the reel spins is if the rear drum is also spinning, and the only way that the rear drum spins is if I have the drive lever in forward. Okay, so I cannot have the reel spinning in a stationary location if the rear drum is actually touching the ground. So if I had to have the reel spinning, okay, and I want to stay in one spot, then I have to put the kickstand up, and then I'm able to spin in one spot. Let me show you. Alright, so the first thing I'm going to do is just turn it on. And you can see right now, I hope you can hear me over the mower, but you can see right now that the reel is engaged, okay? But notice that the reel itself is not spinning. And the reason it's not spinning is because this lever right here is in neutral and it's not in forward. If I want it to go in forward, then I pull, okay? And you can actually feather this lever to where you can start off slower and then go all the way, and naturally you'll be at full speed then. But if I do not want to actually move, but I want the reel engaged, and let me disengage it to back up here, then I'm going to engage the reel, kick up the kickstand, okay? Now the rear drum is not in contact with the ground, so we're not going to roll forward, and I can engage the reel and stay in one spot. Alright, I'm going to stop that, disengage, come back down. There's also a lever behind the drive lever, and that is just your throttle, and you can choose, whether you want to go slow or fast. I typically like to leave it a little bit more on the slow side because my lawn's not very big and I'm turning pretty often. And the Greensmaster 1000, or at least the one I got, also comes with headlights, and they're fully functional. Now the machine actually has to be on for them to work, but they both work. And I can't really say that I've ever gone outside and taken advantage of the fact that this thing has headlights. But I guess if you're up really early in the morning and having to go cut golf greens or something like that, then those might come in handy. But I really haven't used them. So now I just wanted to kind of put it all together and show y'all a couple passes with the machine. Make sure that I have the reel engaged. Well, y'all, I think I will wrap it up right there. But before we go, since the rain stopped, I'll give y'all some parting shots of what the lawn is currently looking like. So the front yard is right here. You can tell that we are looking like carpet out here. Very thick, great color. And let me walk over here, see if you can see any stripes. Alright, so right here, okay, you can see that there's some vertical stripes on the lawn and a couple of diagonal ones that I just mowed, but the lawn is looking really good. I did scalp in a couple spots last time I mowed because we've been getting a lot of rain and the grass has been growing really fast, which means I probably need to start making my plant growth regulator applications here pretty soon. But right now, I gotta say, I'm pretty happy where the lawn's at. Alright y'all, if you liked the video, please leave me a like. If you're enjoying the content so far and would like to see more, hit the red subscribe button below. And if you have any questions, comments, concerns, you know the drill, leave them in the comments section below. Thank y'all for watching. I'll see y'all next week. Lawn Insider, out.